Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Are you ready to take your English to the next level? Whether you're studying for the IELTS exam or just want to sound more like a native speaker, using advanced vocabulary is key. Today, we're diving into 15 powerful C to English words that will make you sound more fluent and sophisticated. Trust me, these are words you absolutely must know. So grab a notebook and let's get started. First up, we have meticulous. This means being very careful and paying great attention to every small detail. For example, you could say, she is meticulous about planning, which is why her projects always succeed. If someone is meticulous, they leave no stone unturned. It's a fantastic word to describe someone who is thorough and precise in their work. Next on our list is inevitable. If something is inevitable, it's certain to happen and you can't prevent it. Think about the march of progress. You could say it was inevitable that technology would change how we communicate. Death and taxes are often described as inevitable. It's a great word to use when talking about outcomes that are guaranteed. Word number 3 is ambiguous. This describes something that is unclear or could be understood in more than one way. It can be confusing. For instance, his answer was so ambiguous that nobody knew what he really meant. Politicians are sometimes accused of giving ambiguous answers to avoid committing to a specific position. So if something isn't clear, it's ambiguous. Moving on to a very positive word, impeccable. This means perfect or without any mistakes whatsoever. It's flawless. You might compliment someone by saying, her pronunciation is impeccable. You can have an impeccable reputation, impeccable style, or an impeccable record. It's a strong adjective for describing perfection. Our 5th word is compelling. If something is compelling, it's extremely interesting or convincing. It grabs your attention and makes you want to listen or believe it. For example, he gave a compelling argument that changed everyone's mind. A great movie has a compelling story, and a great leader gives compelling speeches. Next, we have prevalent. This word simply means very common or widespread in a particular area or at a particular time. For example, fast food is prevalent among teenagers today. You could also say that a certain belief is prevalent in a particular culture. It's a more formal and sophisticated way of saying common. Word number 7 is the verb convey. To convey something means to communicate an idea, feeling, or impression. It's about getting a message across. For instance, it's hard to convey emotion when writing formal emails. Artists use their work to convey a message, and your body language can convey your mood without you saying a word. Number 8 is profound. This describes something that is deep, meaningful, and has a great impact. It's not superficial. You could say, the movie left a profound impact on me. You can have a profound thought, a profound experience, or a profound understanding of a subject. It signifies depth and significance. Next up, articulate. As an adjective, it describes someone who is able to express their thoughts and ideas clearly and effectively. For example, she is articulate and confident during meetings. Being articulate is a highly valued skill, especially in professional settings and public speaking. It means you can speak well. Our 10th word is resilient. This means being strong and able to recover quickly from difficult situations or setbacks. It describes toughness and the ability to bounce back. For instance, children are often more resilient than adults think. A resilient economy can recover quickly from a crisis, and a resilient person doesn't let failure keep them down for long. Let's move on to the verb scrutinize. To scrutinize something means to examine it very carefully and in great detail. For example, in an exam context, the examiner will scrutinize your writing for accuracy and coherence. A detective will scrutinize the evidence, and you should scrutinize any contract before signing it. Word number 12 is eloquent. This is similar to articulate, but it has an added layer of beauty and persuasiveness. Someone who is eloquent speaks in a beautiful and powerful way. A classic example would be, his speech was so eloquent that the audience was silent. It's about speaking with grace and force. Number 13 is notorious. Be careful with this one, as it means being famous for something negative or bad. It's not a compliment. For example, the area is notorious for heavy traffic. A person can be a notorious liar, or a place can be notorious for crime. It means well known for the wrong reasons. Our second to last word is the verb alleviate. This means to reduce or make something less severe, like pain, a problem, or suffering. For instance, drinking water can alleviate headaches caused by dehydration. Governments might introduce policies to alleviate poverty. It's a great word for discussing solutions to problems. And finally, word number 15 is cohesive. This adjective describes something where all the parts fit together well and are logically connected. It suggests unity. For IELTS writing, this is crucial. Your essay needs more cohesive ideas to reach Band 7+. A team that works well together is a cohesive team. And there you have it. 15 advanced C to English words that will instantly make your English sound more impressive. The key now is to practice. Try to use one or two of these words in your speaking or writing this week. Challenge yourself. Which of these words was new to you? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more English learning content. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.
Welcome back to the deep dive. You know the drill. We take that giant stack of information, all the dense articles, the complex research, the insider notes, and we boil it down into pure applicable knowledge. Our whole goal is to give you those intellectual gold nuggets that let you walk into any high-level meeting, any conversation, and you're already well informed. Today, though, our dive is hyper-focused. It's not just on what you know, but how you express it. If you've ever felt like your communication was holding you back, maybe you're stuck using good words when you really needed surgical words, this is your intervention. We are aiming for something we're calling impeccable expression. It's really the benchmark of C2 level English mastery.
And this isn't about collecting trivia, not at all. The resources we synthesized for this deep dive, they focus on 15 specific C2 power words. You should think of this as an advanced toolkit. For you, the learner, mastering this vocabulary is, well, it's a shortcut to efficiency and authority.
A shortcut. I like that.
It is. Think about the C2 principle, nuance in economy. Why waste 7 words describing something when one precise term, one linguistic scalpel, can convey the exact weight, the exact implication you need? Our mission today is to break down the applications, the impact, and just the sheer communicative power of each of these 15 words. We want you to internalize not just the definition, but the strategic reason for using each one.
Okay, so to make all this high-value knowledge instantly usable, we've structured these 15 words thematically. First, we'll build the foundation of precision.
Then we move to the art of influence.
After that, we'll spend some time mapping the world, describing context and certainty.
And we'll wrap it all up with structural integrity and improvement.
All right, sounds like a plan. Let's jump in.
Let's do it.
When we talk about precision, the standard of quality has to be set at the absolute highest level. So we're going to begin with the word meticulous. The core definition is pretty simple. Very careful with small details.
Right, but it's that does all the work.
Exactly. Compare it to just being careful. If I say my preparation was careful, that's fine. It's a B+ SIAT. But if I say it was meticulous, that's the A+ SIAT. The source example we have ties this directly to the outcome. She is meticulous about planning, which is why her projects always succeed.
No.
The implication there is that success wasn't an accident. It was the inevitable result of flawless attention to detail.
That's such a critical distinction. Meticulous describes a state of mind, a standard of prevention. For anyone looking to advance, using this word signals competence before you've even shown the result. In academic life, for instance, meticulous citation avoids plagiarism. Simple. In professional life, meticulous inventory management prevents stock loss.
It's proactive.
It is. It tells your audience that you understand that the smallest error can torpedo the largest project. It's just rigor by design.
So meticulous describes the quality of the input, which leads us perfectly to the action required to verify that input. And that word is scrutinize.
Yes.
There's just a beautiful relationship between these two words.
Absolutely. 100%. You have to scrutinize to ensure the work is meticulous. The definition of scrutinize is to examine carefully. But again, the C2 weight here is all about the intensity and the purpose. This isn't just, looking over a document.
Right, it's not a quick glance.
Not at all. The source gives the context of high stakes. The examiner will scrutinize your writing for accuracy and coherence. Think about that, the examiner. Or think about legal and financial context. When an auditor or a lawyer performs due diligence, what are they doing? They are scrutinizing contracts, balance sheets.
They're looking for flaws?
They're actively searching for flaws, risks, inconsistencies. If you tell your team, we need to scrutinize this proposal, you are signaling something very specific. You're saying we are now entering a phase of rigorous critical assessment where every assumption will be tested and no detail will be taken for granted.
It's like you're putting it under a microscope.
Precisely. It elevates the risk assessment from just checking to vigilant examination.
I think the key takeaway for both of those words is authority. If you use meticulous to describe your own process, you sound authoritative. And if you say you scrutinize the competition strategy, you sound like you've done the deep, necessary work.
You've done the homework.
Yeah. So if meticulous preparation is the goal, then our next word represents the major failure state in any high-stakes communication: ambiguous. Ambiguous means unclear or open to multiple interpretations. The common example is always a conversational failure, right? His answer was so ambiguous that nobody knew what he really meant.
But the professional cost of ambiguity is.
Yeah.
It's just staggering.
Oh, for sure.
When we talk about things like regulatory compliance or legal contracts or technical specifications, ambiguity isn't just a flaw. It's a liability.
A huge one.
A huge one. If a contract is ambiguous, it means lawyers will fight over which meaning is the correct one. And that costs time. It costs capital. It's also important for you to understand the difference between vague and ambiguous. They're not the same thing.
Okay, break that down.
So vague just means lacking detail. But ambiguous means having too many conflicting details or interpretations.
Ah, I see.
For example, a budget projection might be vague, not enough numbers, but a policy instruction that says all employees should report to the central office by noon unless otherwise directed by their immediate supervisor, well, that's potentially ambiguous.
Because the supervisor's direction might be unclear or conflict with something else.
Exactly. The C2 speaker avoids fracturing the meaning. They strive for that surgical clarity we talked about, ensuring their message has only one non-negotiable interpretation, period.
That's a great distinction. Ambiguity is about conflicting clarity, not just a lack of information. Very useful. Okay, so we've established the standard, which is meticulous. We've got the process, scrutinize, and the pitfall, ambiguous. Now, let's look at the ultimate goal, to convey. Convey means to communicate an idea or feeling. It's often used when the transfer of meaning is, complex or subtle. The source mentions the difficulty of non-explicit communication. It's hard to convey emotion when writing formal emails. I think we've all been there.
We have. And the strength of the word convey is that it implies a successful holistic transfer. It's not just telling someone information. It implies that the intended meaning, the nuance, even the emotional or intellectual weight of the idea, it all successfully traveled from you to the receiver.
So it's about the reception as much as the transmission.
Absolutely. Think about a highly detailed technical report. The writer doesn't just want to state the findings. They want to convey the urgency of the necessary corrective action. That includes all the subtle contextual factors. If you successfully convey the complex mood of a nation, you've done more than just report facts. You've transferred understanding, empathy, context.
It's a much deeper level of communication.
It is. So if your preparation is meticulous and you avoid being ambiguous, then you maximize your chances of effectively conveying your entire intended message. These 4 words, they really form the essential quality control mechanism for high-level expression.
That brings us to a neat close on the foundation. We know how to be precise. Now, how do we use that precision to move people? Let's pivot to section 2, the art of influence and significance.
My favorite part.
To influence people, you need arguments that don't just interest them, they have to demand engagement. Our first word in this section is compelling. Compelling is defined as extremely interesting or convincing, and I love the example provided here. He gave a compelling argument that changed everyone's mind. It suggests an active force, a kind of persuasive gravity.
That gravity is the key. A compelling argument moves way beyond just being logically sound. It integrates, ethos, pathos, and logos, credibility, emotion, and logic in such a way that resisting it feels intellectually lazy or irrational.
So it makes the other side of the argument feel untenable.
Exactly. When we describe an argument as compelling, we are saying it has an irrefutable internal strength. Think about what makes a business proposal compelling. It's not just the ROI calculation, right? It's the narrative structure, the clarity of the problem statement, and the way the solution is presented as the only logical next step. It forces a shift in perspective.
Right.
A good piece of data is interesting. A compelling piece of data dictates action. The C2 user of this word attributes enormous persuasive weight to their subject, making it clear that engagement isn't optional, it's mandatory.
Okay, so if compelling is that active persuasion, our next word, profound, speaks more to the passive, long-lasting impact, the depth of thought. Profound means deep and meaningful. It distinguishes that surface-level engagement from true intellectual transformation. Our source example. The movie left a profound impact on me. This suggests a fundamental change in your viewpoint.
And we should clarify the nuance here between profound and a simpler word like significant or important.
Good idea.
Significant often refers to a quantifiable impact. A significant increase in sales, a significant policy change. Profound is qualitative. It's usually intellectual or emotional. It delves into fundamental principles.
So one's about numbers, the other's about ideas.
In a way, yes. For instance, a new medical discovery might be significant if it saves many lives. But the understanding of genetics that led to that discovery, that is profound, because it fundamentally changed how we view biological life itself. You could call a piece of writing profound. You are saying it has reached a level of philosophical or analytical depth that affects the reader's core intellectual framework. It's not just well-written. It has a lasting transformative resonance.
I see. So it sounds like using profound as a way to acknowledge the difference between a successful intervention and a fundamental truth.
That's a beautiful way to put it, yes.
All right, now we get to the mechanics of delivery. We need the tools to deliver those profound, compelling ideas effectively. We have 2 powerful related words here, articulate and eloquent. Let's start with articulate. The definition is able to express ideas clearly. The example, she is articulate and confident during meetings. This feels like the foundational skill.
It is the foundation. Articulate is all about clarity, the structural integrity of your message. It means your internal logic translates flawlessly into outward speech or writing.
You're easy to follow.
Right. Your points connect and you avoid that problem of being ambiguous. It's the essential mechanical skill.
But I've known people who are perfectly articulate. I mean, they make sense, they're precise, but they don't capture anyone's attention. They just lack that spark. And I guess that's where eloquent comes in.
Precisely. Eloquent is where technical proficiency meets artistry. Eloquent means speaking in a beautiful, persuasive way. The example given was, his speech was so eloquent that the audience was silent.
Rapt attention.
Exactly. And this distinction is critical for a C2 speaker. Articulate is the essential function. Eloquent is the elevated form. Eloquent refers to the rhythm, the cadence, the rhetorical devices, the careful selection of vocabulary, like the very words we're discussing today, that make speech not just understandable, but pleasurable and deeply memorable.
So an engineer presenting dry data very clearly is articulate. A political leader using powerful imagery and structured rhetoric to inspire action. That's eloquent.
That's the perfect comparison.
But here's a question. Is it possible to be eloquent without being articulate? How would that even work?
That is a fascinating challenge. You might have someone who is highly emotional or uses beautiful phrases, we might call them poetic. But if their main points are structurally disconnected or logically unsound, they're not truly articulate.
So it falls apart under scrutiny.
It falls apart. True eloquence relies on the scaffolding of articulation. To be C2 level, you must master both. The clarity of articulation combined with the captivating aesthetic power of eloquence. The dual mastery is what makes your compelling argument unforgettable.
Wow. Those 4 words really define the arsenal of influence. Let's shift now. From internal quality and audience impact to describing the external environment itself, how we categorize trends and certainty.
All right, section 3. When we analyze complex systems, we often need a word that speaks with unwavering certainty about the future. And that brings us to inevitable. Inevitable is defined simply as certain to happen. The example frames this as a macro trend. It was inevitable that technology would change how we communicate. This word doesn't leave any room for maybe or if only.
Okay, I want to challenge that though. Doesn't calling something inevitable sometimes sound like, I don't know, intellectual laziness? Like it's a way to stop planning or debating, you just submit to this fatalistic outcome. How does a C2 speaker use that word without losing credibility?
That's an excellent point. It is a rhetorical danger if it's misused. But the responsible, high-level use of inevitable isn't fatalism. It's deep analysis of systemic forces. When you use this word, you are essentially declaring that the underlying mechanics, the economic pressures, the technological momentum, the demographic shifts are so powerful and interconnected that no single mitigating action could stop the result.
So you're saying the train has already left the station?
And all the tracks lead to one destination. Compare it to expected. We expect the weather to be cold in January. We deem the rising of the sun inevitable. The C2 application is reserved for results driven by structural dynamics. For instance, the collapse of a financially unsustainable business model may be inevitable. Using the word effectively focuses the conversation, as you correctly noted, away from the debate of if it will happen and toward the more productive discussion of how we adapt or when it will materialize.
So it's a strategic tool.
The strategic term for removing non-variables from the equation.
Got it. That strong sense of certainty leads us to words that describe present conditions on a massive scale. And next up is prevalent. Prevalent means very common or widespread. It's a step up from just common. Our example, fast food is prevalent among teenagers today.
The power of prevalent is its use in analytical fields. Think epidemiology, public health, social science, market analysis. It doesn't just describe frequency. It describes a condition or a trait that is defining or characteristic of an entire population or environment at a given time.
So it has a more scientific feel to it.
It does. If you are analyzing market trends, you wouldn't say smartphones are common. You might say ad blocker software is prevalent among younger tech users. That implies that this isn't just a handful of individuals. It's a widespread, defining behavior that must be addressed by any digital marketing strategy. It elevates the observation from anecdotal frequency to statistical significance. It demands strategic acknowledgement.
It makes it sound like a core feature of that group.
It's a hallmark of professional analysis, yes.
Okay. Moving from widespread occurrence to widespread reputation, let's look at the highly efficient word notorious. Notorious is defined as famous for something negative. This is one of my favorite C2 shortcuts because of how much meaning it packs into just 8 letters. Example, the area is notorious for heavy traffic.
The efficiency is exactly the point. The C2 speaker avoids using a long sentence like, this person is well known throughout the industry for cheating on their taxes. No. Instead, they use the single word. He is notorious for his tax practices.
It's so much punchier.
It is, and the genius of notorious is that it instantly communicates 3 things. 1, the reputation is negative. 2, the reputation is widespread and well-established. And 3, it implies a certain degree of judgment.
All in one word.
All in one word. This makes it an incredibly strong descriptor, particularly in character assessments or risk evaluations. It's the opposite of famous, which is neutral or positive. If you use notorious incorrectly for a positive thing, you will sound highly unsophisticated. It is strictly reserved for a collective negative judgment or association like being notorious for poor safety standards or institutional mismanagement. It saves time and delivers a real rhetorical punch.
So we've covered the vocabulary of description certainty, widespread condition, and shared reputation. Now we can move into the language of solutions, of strength, and, well, fixing things.
Section 4. When discussing systems and strategies, strength isn't enough. The ability to recover from shock is paramount. This brings us to resilient. Resilient means strong, able to recover quickly. While we often apply it to people, as in the source example, children are often more resilient than adults think, its professional application in C2 contexts is typically more technical and strategic.
Right. I hear this used all the time and talk about supply chains now. So what is the technical difference between a system that is merely stable and one that is resilient?
That's a crucial technical distinction. A stable system is designed to maintain a fixed state under normal conditions. It actively resists change.
Okay.
A resilient system is designed to absorb change or shock, a natural disaster, a sudden market fluctuation, a major political shift, and then quickly return to a functional, maybe even an improved state.
So one is rigid, the other is flexible.
That's a good way to think about it. Stability is about maintaining the status quo. Resilience is about surviving disruption and adapting. When you design a crisis management protocol, you are aiming for a resilient organization, not just a stable one. It's the capacity to sustain a shock without catastrophic failure and then rapidly pivot back to operation. For you, the learner, this word signals a strategic, systems-level approach to problem solving. It acknowledges that disruption is inevitable and must be planned for.
Great connection back to inevitable. Okay, so when we encounter problems, we don't always just fix them. Especially with complex, intractable issues, the goals have to be measured. And this requires us to use the term alleviate. Alleviate means to reduce or make less severe. The example given is health-focused. Drinking water can alleviate headaches caused by dehydration.
This is perhaps one of the most, I'd say, politically and managerially mature words on our list. In the real world of policy or medicine or large-scale project management, very few complex problems are truly solved overnight.
No quick fixes.
No, they are managed, mitigated, and reduced. Using alleviate signals intellectual honesty and measured expectations. When a government proposes a measure to alleviate poverty, they're not promising to eradicate it completely. That would be an unrealistic promise.
It would be incredible, but not realistic.
Right. They are promising to make the symptoms less severe, the conditions less painful. When a company uses a new software patch to alleviate system bottlenecks, they are reducing latency, not claiming the network will instantly achieve perfection. It is the language of realistic, focused impact, and it immediately adds credibility to any solution you propose because it manages the audience's expectations honestly.
That's a very powerful and, like you said, mature way of looking at problem solving. So we've built strong systems, we've found measured solutions. Now, how do we ensure the arguments we build or the teams we lead hold together logically? That demands our next word, cohesive. Cohesive is defined as working well together, logically connected. This is the internal glue, the word for quality assurance in organization. The academic example highlights its importance. Your essay needs more cohesive ideas to reach band 7+ teach.
Cohesive refers to the internal architecture of your communication. It means that the transition between your ideas is so smooth that they form a unified, integrated whole. The sectors don't just follow each other, they build upon one another in a linear, predictable, and logical way. It all fits. But think beyond the essay. A business team is cohesive if its members understand how their individual roles interconnect to achieve the collective mission. A legal brief is cohesive if every single piece of evidence logically supports the central claim without contradiction. If your logic lacks cohesion, your entire argument becomes vulnerable, especially when it is subjected to scrutiny.
Another great callback.
The power of cohesive is its implication that the structure itself is sound and unified.
Okay, these words, resilient, alleviate, cohesive, are the language of adaptability and strength. We've covered everything from fundamental rigor to rhetorical brilliance. It's time to put it all together.
Section 5. We titled this deep dive Impeccable Expression, and now we define the term that serves as the gold standard for everything we've just discussed. That word is impeccable.
Impeccable means perfect, without any mistakes. It is a word that accepts 0 errors. The example is the highest compliment you can give. Her pronunciation is impeccable, absolutely flawless.
What's important about impeccable is that it is often used for things that require flawless execution across multiple dimensions. Pronunciation, taste, conduct, expression. It's not simply excellent. Excellent allows for minor flaws. Impeccable is flawless.
It's perfection.
It is. And if we synthesize our entire vocabulary list, we understand what it takes to achieve this goal. If your research is meticulous, your logic is cohesive, your delivery is both articulate and eloquent, and the resulting argument is compelling, then, and only then, is your expression impeccable. It is the aspirational peak of C2 mastery. It is the ultimate word to describe quality that is so high, it is above reproach.
That's the benchmark. Flawless execution across the board. Wow.
That's the goal.
We've just executed a full deep dive into 15 high-impact C2 level words. Let's quickly review the categories and the intellectual impact of using them strategically. We started by establishing the foundation of precision with the rigor of meticulous preparation and the intense process of scrutinize.
We learned to eliminate the professional liability of being ambiguous.
And we ensured the successful transfer of meaning by learning to convey. Then we moved into the art of influence.
Building compelling arguments and striving for ideas that leave a profound mark.
And we mastered the dual skills of delivery, the essential clarity of being articulate.
And the captivating beauty of being eloquent.
From there, we practice mapping the world, using inevitable to frame certainty.
Prevalent to describe widespread conditions with analytical weight.
And notorious to efficiently summarize a negative reputation.
And finally, we covered structural integrity by designing resilient systems, proposing measured solutions that alleviate problems.
And ensuring that all our logic and structure is cohesive, aiming always for that final aspirational benchmark, impeccable quality.
The transformation offered by these words is immediate and profound, and I use profound intentionally here. They provide linguistic leverage. They are not merely synonyms. They are tools of conceptual refinement. They allow you to communicate complex ideas in fewer words, boosting your perceived authority, your confidence, and your credibility instantly.
A real toolkit.
An incredibly powerful one. And here's the provocative thought to carry with you this week. We have dedicated this time to defining what makes an external argument compelling and articulate. Now, apply the process of scrutinizing your own internal beliefs and assumptions. What claims about the world or about yourself, which you currently accept as prevalent or inevitable, might actually be proven ambiguous under close examination. By applying this advanced vocabulary to your critical thinking, you stop merely processing information and you start shaping your understanding with impeccable clarity.
Use these 15 accelerators today. Don't just be good, be impeccable. Don't just make sense, be eloquent. We can't wait to hear how you use these power words in your next high-stakes conversation. Until next time, keep diving deep.